Welcome back, episode 50,
What's up, shitbags?
the big 5-0.
The
Halfway
big
to
5
100.
0. We made it. We made it. It's huge. I mean, we do it every time, but we can't thank you guys enough. Episode 50 is pretty huge. We're really excited for it. About 3 years coming, a little bit of fluctuations in our episodes. Cooper had to make an appearance for 50.
Yeah, you gotta say
Cooper.
it.
But thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, everything. It's been great. It's just awesome. 50 episodes in, the people we've gotten to meet and talk to, and the relationships and cool things that we've gotten to do from it. So thank you guys for listening. Huge thank yous to the sponsors. Definitely would not be here without them. Crew First Culture, Taylor's Tins, Jobtown Graphics, Toxic Suppression. Just check all of them out. I know we've said it. We've gotten to have some interactions with all of them on here. They've been great episodes. They're great people. Support them if you can. And just thanks for being 50 episodes deep. This is awesome. And we couldn't think of a better guest to bring on for episode 50.
All right.
We looked back. It was episode 13. Corley helped us start this, and now we got to bring him back for episode 50. Not going to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and bring in the man of the hour. Corley, how's it going?
Bryce,
Hello.
Brennan, how are you doing?
We
Good.
are doing great. How are you?
Man, brother, I'm honored to be here, first of all, and extremely proud of you guys and you guys should be extremely proud because 50 is unreal. 50 is huge.
Thank you. It's
thank
been
you.
awesome. You guys, like we said, all our listeners, but you especially, a lot of our guests have been just essential in getting us here. You've gotten some great advice, and it's awesome. We're super happy to be here.
No, you should. And again, like I don't say this lightly. I get it probably once a week, twice a week. I get an invite to come on a new podcast and talk, and they're like, I'm passionate, and they're passionate. They're going to do it, and usually they'll put out 1 or 2 episodes. And I tell everybody the same thing. I probably told you guys the same thing. It's like, look, be consistent. If you get to, I think when I first said it, I said, get to episode 10 and I'll come on. Now I say, get to episode 20 and I will come on. Mm-hmm. And it's not a big timing thing or anything like that. I tell them, listen, I'm challenging you to get there because it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. And to get to 50, very, very few do it. So yeah, man, congratulations on that. And I could think of a lot better people to have on, but you guys chose me, so I'm very honored.
No, thank you for
so much. Taking the time to come on, man. Appreciate it.
Well, for those that don't know, why don't you give yourself a little introduction, and we'll hop into the questions then.
Love it. I am Corley Moore, recently retired after 28 years on the job. First and foremost, I'm a husband. That's the number one priority. Second priority is father. I should say last Thanksgiving last year, I became a grandfather. So huge life change for me. And
congratulations.
He absolutely dominates my life and my thought process. But that's the main part of the bio, the most important parts. And then I also write books and do a podcast. And that's what I tell people. And I'm very passionate about what I do. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Awesome.
Man. Perfect. Well, like you said, recently retired. So that's where we got a lot of our questions that we got focused for you today. So the first one, what's been the biggest change from working shift to being retired?
Biggest change? Physiologically, it would be sleep. Just the ability to go to sleep, expecting to sleep all night. And because I would get good sleep at the station as a battalion chief in a suburban department. I would. It wasn't like I was just job town up all night, but it was the expecting to sleep all night that was kind of the change. I go to bed expecting not to wake up until the alarm goes off. Yeah. And that's probably the biggest physiological change. The psychological was realizing like, holy shit, I'm never going to go to a fire again as anything except a buff, like as just a civilian. And that was kind of a mind screw that I had to come to grips with.
Yeah.
So that's the two biggest changes, I would say.
So not going to volunteer anymore? Not going to do it? Not at all? You don't know? I'm
not near any real without almost. It would take a good. I mean, I could. It's just it's not like I'm next to. I don't live in a community with volunteer. Yeah. I'm not next to one that's very near. So it would be a commitment to travel to do it. Not massively, but at least a half hour just to participate. Yeah. But I don't put anything out of the future.
Yeah.
Right now, I can't imagine doing. Again, I tell people this all the time. I retired from my department. I really didn't retire from the fire service because
Mhm.
I do, like I said, I told you guys, I just got back from the Pacific Northwest Fire Conference. And, before that, the Mile High Fire Conference. I'm still plugged in. And so it wasn't like I was cold turkey. If I was cold turkey, I'd probably already be at the nearest volunteer department. But because I get to see and I always tell people this is I only interact with the best. And I mean that because I go to conferences and I see like the top 5% of the fire service, those that go to conferences. So I have this like rose tinted version of what every firefighter is like, but no, right now I'm enjoying throwing myself into firehouse vigilance and the scrap. I've got a lot of probably too many projects that I need to focus on the signal and cut out the noise and get some stuff done. So long answer.
For sure. For sure.
No,
You're a busy man.
What will or do you miss most about shift?
Oh, easy answer. Easiest answer in the world is the guys, the plain and simple, the crews. I will never not miss that. And I think that was the the thing I had to come to grips with was I could stay another 30 years and I would still miss the guys when I left.
Yeah.
And so once I got okay with no matter how long I stay, once I leave, I'm going to miss that bonding, that the butt gusting laughter, the sitting around the kitchen table, the investing in them buying into my harebrained schemes and actually man, that's absolutely what I will miss probably till the day they put me in the ground. Because once you're a firefighter, you're a firefighter forever. And that camaraderie and those guys and our one girl, I don't want to, I say guys, but I mean it in that gender neutral way, but absolutely, man. Yeah. No matter what, I'll still get,
So for sure.
It's one of those things
It's gonna be hard.
You probably don't even know until like it happens. It's one of those things you might not. Obviously, we all know we love our crews and we talk about it, but like until you actually, like you say, you're not going back or anything. You don't
pull
really
the trigger and you're no longer part of it. Yeah, once you pull the trigger and you're no longer a part of it, it's a weird realization. So
you just like, even as you just say on the butt gust and laughter, it's like that's at least 3 times a shift that you like. We're not talking you're giggling like. Yeah. We are the best comedians. Like that is you can't,
and we spend so much time together. That's the other part. I mean, you just spend so much time together that you get to know each other and you're invested in, especially if you're invested in each other. That's the thing is I really did love, and I don't throw that term out there softly. I loved my crews. I did. Yeah. And so that's the tough, that'll always probably be the toughest part. But man, everything has a season, and no matter how long I stayed, I will miss them when I left. Yeah. So that was the hardest part to come to grips with, but we're there.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Now we're getting real deep. I'm actually impressed with this question, which now I'll throw in the fact that nobody sent in it. Come on, people, send in some questions. I think we got like 6 comments on the post from people like, "Oh, great guest, great guy, love the guy." Throwing a question.
I like that. I agree with
them. But we're getting deep for this morning. Did you fulfill everything you wanted to in your career?
Ooh, that is getting deep.
That's a good question.
No, that's a phenomenal question. I would say no. And just initially, because there's a lot of things I wanted to accomplish, and I did leave without accomplishing a lot of those things in my organization. And so one thing, and this is like just stepping back from it and looking down, one thing I always wanted to do, I only ever went to battalion chief. So the biggest part of the organization I was ever, I don't want to say like control, but in charge of, responsible for, that's probably the best way to say it, was a battalion. So I know my principles that I espouse and teach. I know they work on the battalion level. From experience, I know how powerful they can be. I don't know, and I believe they are. Don't get me wrong. I have full faith in no matter what level of leadership you're at, they work. Yeah. But I never got to implement them as a district chief or a fire chief. So on the bucket list still is, I always told the wife, maybe we'll go be a fire chief at some like 2-station department on the beach somewhere, and spend and I get to implement those things and see how powerful and how much of a high performance you can turn that into with the principles that I espouse and teach. And so that's definitely one of the things. And probably the biggest one is just, leaving that on the table was, without elaborating. Other than that, man, I'm pretty satisfied with my career. with the investment in my people, the position I was in, and the people I was responsible for. I'm very proud of my investment in them and their buy-in to the I don't want to say system, that almost cheapens it, but their buy-in to the vision. And it was a fun, I honestly believe they would all say they loved working for me. And so it was great.
That's awesome. So you would still say, even though you didn't maybe fulfill everything, that you had a fulfilling career?
Oh, absolutely. It's not like I'm just full of regrets. Please don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But if you said gun to your head, have you done everything you ever wanted to do? Like initially when I first hired on, company officer was what I wanted to be. I remember being a rookie saying, I'm going to run my own firehouse before I end my shift. I'm going to run it the way I want it. You know, even back then, before I studied leadership and I had this vision of how awesome a firehouse could be. And it was playing games and goofing off. But as a 20-year-old kid, but so I accomplished everything I initially had, but as I grew and then there was other things that became on the plate that I would have liked to have tried. So, but no, it's not like I'm massively proud of my career, how I left it, and the crew and the legacy I left behind, and the people I invested in. Absolutely.
Awesome. That's the most important part.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Going basically now back to the beginning of your career, like you talked about, all the way through the end, because if you don't know Corley, you know he did. How did you carry your love of the job all the way through your career?
One is, and people who know my story know that I was not always the Corley Moore Firehouse Vigilance. And I think I talked about that first time, and I won't go into but I wasn't always just Mr. Plugged into the job, loving the job, respecting the job. I've always loved being a firefighter. And I always tell people that I was passionate about going to fires. I think it's the coolest shit in the world is going to fires. Not that I want people's stuff to burn or anything like that, but I want to be there if it's going to happen. And so I've always loved it. But until Mark Von Oppen and Dave McGrail, they really had an impact on my life and my mindset. And it was pretty late in my career. It was about 2015, 2014, when they had the so it was only 10 years ago where they really had that impact on me. And Mark Von Oppen was the first person who I saw in a class, and it sounds stupid to say now almost out loud, but he was the first person that said, no, you can kick ass at this job. You can be good at this job and be proud of it. Mm-hmm. And that was like mind blowing. And like I said, it sounds stupid to say now.
Yeah.
But before he said that out loud to me in that class, it was always like, oh, you like being a firefighter? What are you, some dumb, this is just a job. This you
Farkle by us.
So 100%. And so I wasn't all, but that lit the fire that became Firehouse Vigilance, the never ending fight against complacency, because I was a complacent person at one time. And so that's one of the things about Firehouse Vigilance and the scrap is that when they say mutts don't scrap and the FTM and all that stuff, is I actually have a high degree of empathy for a complacent firefighter because I understand how you get there. I understand that complacency doesn't give a shit who you are. It will wrap its tentacles around you. It will pull you close, and you will feel just natural saying, fuck this place. This is, I make the same money whether I go to a call or not. I know how to throw a ladder. Why would I go practice throwing a ladder? It'll get you there. And so anyway, I don't know if I'm answering the question or if I'm just rambling, but
it's all right. You're answering it.
I absolutely finished very strong, very passionate. And I had to learn a lot of lessons with that same passion, which is the opposite. Hey, you got your reputation that you have to carry from your first half of your career or whatever you try to make a change. You got to carry that reputation, and that's a tough one to overcome. And the second one is you can do a lot of damage with passion. And I always tell people that passion without relationships is overbearing, and you will cause damage.
Yeah.
And so no matter what we're talking about, fire service or anything.
Yeah.
So
the power in numbers is exactly what as it sounds. I mean, it's so nice to watch that part grow when you have one person coming out, two people, three people, and all of a sudden you just see that just like that, and that culture can change for the good or bad. I mean,
absolutely.
As soon as you have it, you get the numbers and the buy-in, you're heading in that direction, and it's going to be hard to change, like I said, good or bad.
And it goes both directions. That's a very good point. That's a very valid point, Bryce. And the thing about the direction is that it's the only way to go in a good direction is intentionally. Mm-hmm. And the natural inclination is for it to go into a negative direction. And so that's a even though they're both the same power, they take the same effort. One is only done intentionally, and one is the natural inclination if it's not done. And it's just it's a powerful concept to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now Brennan's got some questions for you, including one that I don't think has changed since you were on episode 13.
I think it is the same one, but this one you take it however you want to take it.
Okay.
We'll see if your answer changed.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, damn it, my memory's so bad. I don't know what I said the first time.
Why are we here?
Why are we here? And you're saying philosophically, not as human beings, but as the fire, sir. I can take it wherever I want. Okay, I'll go. I just came back from Seattle and the Pacific Northwest Fire Conference and sat through some amazing lectures from David Rhodes, DJ Stone, and Andrew Murtaugh. They were all three. Each one of them covered something different, and then they had me close out the day. And I was like, seriously, I got to follow these guys. And it was amazing. But one of the things David Rhodes really broke down was, why do we go to fires? And why do we go to fires? And he just put it up there and asked people, why do we go to fires? And so to me right now, that recency, it's stuck in my head because I actually incorporated it into my closing ditty. But he really does. He does it so beautifully in that presentation, because that's what he closes with, because he starts putting up pictures of like a grandpa, and he says, we go so this grandpa can have one more birthday. And we go, and he puts up a picture of a dad walking his dad down the aisle. He goes, we go so that this dad can walk his daughter down the aisle. And it's just these powerful, they're not even powerful. They're just a picture that can be hanging on your wall or on your phone. Mm-hmm. And he says, this is why we go. And it's people. And that's ultimately the answer I will give. Now it's a recency bias. I don't know what I said last time, but because I just sat through those, that is absolutely what I will say today is we exist because of people. That is why we exist. And when we lose sight of that, that's when we really start the wheels really start wobbling. And
I think that's where the complacent comes in, because you don't care anymore.
That's it.
So, like, screw it.
No, you're absolutely right. Brendan
putting a name to like the faces is, I mean, you think of like how you think of your family, but then you think of how, and you have to an extent, but you think of how the calls we go to and everything, they just become patients,
right?
People. And you don't you think about, like you said, those grandpas or that this person's a dad. Like once you start actually connecting those, it's like, okay, I got to care a little bit more. Like now it's not just, hey, this is the job. It's like, yeah, this is kind of a big job. Like,
oh yeah, no, relevant. And again, the lecture I sat through yesterday, Andrew Murtaugh, he puts up a slide and he explains, through this circumstance, he got assigned to a ladder that was he was the first due to his house, right? Mm-hmm. Just through this weird set of circumstances. He explains all why it happened, because it's not supposed, but anyway, and he takes that crew that day and he takes them to his house and he says, listen, if we get a fire, my kid is right there in that window. That's the most important thing I want you to understand today. Right. And he's telling them that, and it dawns on him, and it's really cool. Yeah. His presentation is so cool, because it dawns on him. He's like, holy shit, everybody in this city feels that same way about their house, their kids, their loved ones. It's not just me, because I'm in charge of, he goes, I'm in charge of this crew every day, and we're in charge of all of them. And it's a really powerful thing that he gets across. And it was really cool when he showed the picture of that crew, and he's holding his daughter there, and he's like, everybody feels that way. And once you lock that in, that's why we're doing this.
I think as first responders, we take the people aspect out of our head so we can do the job, especially on medicals.
Yep.
I know that I put a block in front of my head, so I just block all the rest of that out. I think we get really accustomed to doing that. And like Bryce said, people are they're objects to us, so we can work. We don't get we don't see the human of that.
Well, we can't, because we have to function. We have to, if we're seeing if we're feeling the human side of it, if we're connecting with them in an emergency scene when their limbs are hanging on by skin, if we're connecting with them in that moment, we're not gonna be effective functioning. We'll be sitting there blubbering and trying to, like the public. We're not the public. We're the people that take care of the public. And we do put on that armor. We shut down those things so we don't feel, so that we can be highly effective. And here's the thing, we're good at it. We are very, very good at it. And we kick ass at it. But there is a downside, and burnout does exist, and you can become desensitized, and you can lose that connection. There's a cost for everything. But man, absolutely. And then you're nailing it on the head, Brendan, when you say that. You put up that wall, you get it done, you go back to the station, and sometimes you forget that wall's up, and over time it adds up. Up.
I think there's a time and a place for, now in my short career, I've had the experience of both. And I think that's becoming more common, is that we're getting, higher residency levels. You're getting people that live in different ones. But when I was in Beaver Dam, I didn't live in Beaver Dam. I still lived in Fond du Lac. So like I didn't know anybody in Beaver Dam. There was not a single person in Beaver Dam that I could associate with aside from people then that was like Brennan's family and my crew's family. Then moving back home, now it's like my station, I'm first due for my parents' house. I'm first due for my in-laws' house. Yeah. And I think the time and the place is you gotta connect that in training. When you're going out training, you got to think about, hey, this is, like you said, that's somebody's kid. That's somebody's mom, that's somebody's dad. That's something, like, you make that connection to that community so that when you go on the calls, it's second nature and you don't have to think about it. It shouldn't be like you said, it shouldn't be, this is my engineer's house. This is my parents' house. Like, I've got to do my job better. It should be every scene. Like, this is somebody's house, somebody's family. I'm going to do my job that I trained for.
Absolutely.
And help drive that passion when you're out in the training ground.
And drive it on the training ground for those sets and those reps so we can be highly effective, highly competent, highly confident, man. Absolutely. And the other part, and it ties back into Brennan and what Bryce says, absolutely on the training ground. But the other part of it is when you can tie it in on everything. And like when you say, like, the mundane medical calls probably are the biggest detriment to the fire service. The non-emergency calls that we go on that just wear down our willpower and sap our will. And if you can keep it in your mind, man, I'm going like this. This is my grandma. This is my grandma, and treat it like it's your grandmother. Hopefully you have a good relationship with your grandmother, but you treat it like you have a good, because there's people that if they would have treated my grandma the way that I've seen people that I work with treat patients, then if I would have been on a scene and someone treated my grandma that way, we'd have been having a fight.
Yeah.
Like we'd have been throwing. And so, but if you can keep that, again, it's a mindset, and they don't realize you're getting there when you get there. But so, but it does absolutely apply, especially on, and I don't want to downplay what Bryce was saying on the training ground, because it is, that whole bit of, that's why we're going to throw this ladder one more time. That's why, hey, good rep. Let's do it one more time. Let's see if we can do it a little better. Let's stretch the hose one more time. Hey, come on, grab your mask. Let's do this mask up one more time. Let's try it. Let's go. Because it could be. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Next question. What training conferences have been your favorite to attend?
Whew, yeah. Man, FDIC is the big show. FDIC is the big show. So I'm just saying it. I'm not saying FDIC is the best, although it's hard to argue because it is the biggest, without a doubt. Just sheer size. FDIC is the big show for a reason. And if you've never, I think every firefighter should go one time just to experience the enormity, because the words almost fail it. When you walk into the expo center, and when Lucas Oil Stadium is like 1/10 of the booth space, it just kind of gives you an idea of the enormous, just the immenseness of it. So, and then again, it's not just the size, because everybody that teaches at every other conference everywhere across the country is trying to become selected to teach at FDIC. So it's hard to knock that it is the big daddy of all. And now, as far as favorites, man, I love intimate conversations. And the thing about FDIC is, because it's so immense, you are, as an instructor going, or as a podcast host going, there is something going on every 10 minutes that you're trying to become involved. And it's crazy, because I'll be like, hey, we're having dinner. I'll get a message from, insert whoever. Hey, we're having dinner. We got a spot saved for you and Amanda. you are coming still, right? And I'm like, because I committed to it. I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm coming from the convention center. I'll be there. It's a 10-minute walk. I'll be there in 10 minutes. And we'll start walking. And
walk. Yeah, it's
and you can't
Put a hoodie on.
It will take an hour to get those 10 minutes because you get stopped and people are like, hey, Chief, I loved your class, or it's another instructor that has it's not anything bad. It's just there is so many, like, I don't know, 35,000 firefighters all in downtown Indianapolis, and you're going to see people and people who know you, and it's just okay. So that's that. The small conferences where you can actually spend time with the students, and especially in the social afterwards, is very, very powerful. And there's a lot of good ones. I just came from Mile High, and that's been going on for a while. Mile High in Denver, and they're getting it on right. They're doing it right. Good instruction, good setup, because there's a lot to it. Anybody can put together a conference, get a gymnasium, put some chairs in it, bring in some speakers, and it's happening all over. And it's kind of seen this explosion of micro conferences, which is great. But some of them shouldn't be because they don't know what they're doing, and they're trying to learn and they're passionate. It's kind of like not everybody should have a podcast. And the thing about podcasts is I'm rambling, but that's okay. Just enjoy.
All right, that's all right.
Yeah.
Is everybody thinks, oh, it's a podcast, and you're just talking to people. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to talk to people. There's so much, and you guys know this. There's a skill set to it that is and a grind to it that you don't understand when you think, oh, you just talk to people. Anybody can do that. And but the same thing with a conference. Oh, I'll just get some speakers to come in, and anybody can do it. I did one conference once. We had a couple line of duty deaths here in Oklahoma, and I did one conference, Honor the Fallen. And it was very early in Firehouse Vigilance. And I brought in Jacob Johnson, Robert Ramirez. My brain locks up as I try to think of his name. I see his face out of East Coast. I just had him on the scrap. Mark Davidson. I was like, man, I hate when my brain locks up. It won't move. Yeah. It won't move forward. It won't go until I get the name. So many good people. Ryan Walt, Romagus. It's the first place Romagus ever taught Cruel Intentions. It was the first. He actually built the class to teach it there. And I don't even know if it was called Cruel Intentions at the time. But the cool part was it was an amazing conference. But every speaker donated their time. Every speaker, the raffle was amazing because everybody out there donated stuff to the raffle. And it was all donated. The venue was donated. So it wasn't like there was any sort of investment. And then we sold tickets and did the raffle, and we raised, I want to say I think it was around $28,000 and we split it between the two families. So it wasn't like this, like hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything, but it was a very successful, dude. I said to my wife, we will never, ever do another conference ever again. And that one was about as simple as you could get. Everything donated. All I had to do was coordinate it. And the Mid-America Fools, they were amazing. We did 1 day of lecture, 1 day of hands-on, and they handled all the hands-on. And Oklahoma City Fire gave us their training facility to use. It was a wildly successful. If you were part of it, it was one of those things that if you were there, it was pretty magical. But I realized it's a special skill set to put on conferences, and I will never do that again.
Yeah,
that's not
a lot of work. A lot of work,
and you better be passionate. You better be passionate about it, because there is no very few exceptions. You're not making money doing it. You're just you're losing money doing it. And again, I didn't, because everything was donated.
Yeah.
But if people think that, I'll do a conference. If I get 100 people and they pay $100 a piece, that's $10,000. Man, we can make some money doing this. You're not. I promise you, you're not going to. So
we got to shout our local one, because it's over your shoulder, Sawdust City. I mean,
Sawdust. Yeah,
they've been doing now what 3 4 years? It's going to be.
This might be 4. Yeah, 4 is coming up.
So it's
DJ, no, man, without a doubt, the guys up there in Wisconsin getting it on. I love seeing these different ones. And again, I leave so many out. First in Arkansas, Ryan McCormick. He's doing it right. The one I just got back from, Pacific Northwest. This was their 2nd or 3rd year, and I'm telling you, they doing it right. Sawdust City, you said that. Duffy and Great Lakes Hot, man, another one right up there in that area. I just came back from Heart of the Lakes in Minnesota. That was they again, I hate to say it over and over, they're doing it right. But there are these ones that are doing it right. And again, about that, around that 200 or less coming to the conference, and then there's a good conference has good socials planned. And everybody, if you're planning a conference, listen to me. A good conference has good socials planned. It's a place for everybody that came to your conference, have a big enough place picked out where everybody's going to show up, get your instructors to commit to be there, and then facilitate good discussion. So, and this is my other pet peeve. I'll give it to everybody out there for conferences. If you're doing a raffle, hype it up. I hate, and I don't use the word hate often. I hate when they're like, okay, we're doing a raffle. Here's the winner is red ticket 27279341 9341 9341. It's we're giving away a foldy phone 9341. Oh, there it is. 934. Okay, come on, get your phone. And that's the hype, right? No, hey, it's a raffle. Like, it's a contest. They just won something. Play some circus music on your PA system. Get some hype going. Have somebody with some personality pull the tickets. Make a big deal about whatever was donated. If it's a foldy phone, make a big look at it, guys. It folds in half. Did you put your tickets in here? Did you want to win it? Right? And make a big deal about it. And so when they win, everybody's clapping and someone's saying, winner, winner, chicken dinner. You know, I hate that. So that's my advice. If you're going to build a conference, have a good raffle, man. Have a spinning wheel up there. Dude, man, it's not hard to put a little effort into it and make it fun. Yeah. And so, all right. Rant over.
No, that's good. I like that.
Perfect.
All right. Next one. How should we look at failures?
How should we look at failures? Man, the easy answer is they're the opportunities to grow. But if we're talking about, and again, I love training. Training fixes everything. That's Dandridge Malone, small unit leadership. Training fixes everything. And I love Basil Ibrahim, and his definition of training is controlled failure. That's the purpose of training, is to fail, to find out what we can't get done so we can improve that point and push further. So, and again, the purpose of training is controlled failure so that we can find, can we get this done? It's not, the purpose isn't to fail. The purpose is to get it done right and get better at it and gain competence, gain confidence so that we can be highly effective, and take those skill sets off the table as variables when it really gets, and we can open up our cognitive bandwidth so we can make better decisions in when it gets hard and charging. But man, failure is okay. Failure is where we learn in the training environment. Now, when you're talking about how do we deal with failure when we fail on the fire ground, that's another animal that when you come back with the primary search is negative and then it turns out there's a body inside, that's that's a failure. That is a failure. And now the crews that came back with primary search is negative, they have to live with that. And that's a tough one, man. I wish I had a nice, like, all encompassing, easy answer. I think the biggest thing, again, is it goes back to, depending on which style we're talking about, the good side of failure is doing it on purpose so we can get better, right? And training. Now, the downside is when we actually have failures. But again, going back to the training side of things, the way you deal with this one is to know you did everything you could here so that you don't live with, I wish I would have been better prepared. I've had a lot of late night conversations with firefighters, usually in the day room. Everybody's gone to bed. The TV's on, but it's turned down because you're sitting there having a close conversation. And someone will be talking to me about, man, I just feel like in that moment, I didn't know what to do. And I feel, I wish I would have had, and it's a regret. It's this, they're beating themselves up. There's a guilt there. And the way to take care of that is to be prepared as much as you can and say, no, I could not have done more. Because if you know, and this is the deal, when you could have done more. You can lie to yourself, but and that's the part that's tough to deal with but if you can say, man, I could not have done more. I was well prepared for it. And the fire gets a vote, at the end of the day, you can still do everything right and still get jammed up in a bad near miss or line of duty death. I mean, you can do everything right. So I'm not saying like please don't take it wrong. If you miss somebody on a primary search, it's because you didn't train enough. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm saying to live with that guilt, to live with that failure, do everything you can on the front side so you can look in the mirror and say, no, I did my part. And and that's again, Wish there was an easy answer, but that's what I would say is train your ass off so you don't have to live with that guilt.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right. Last
got heavy.
Got here.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that. Awesome. What do you tell your probies to expect when they get hired?
What do I tell how deep you want me to get here? I can pull up
as deep as you want.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll open up my Google Drive, because I can be as accurate as possible, because this is what I make every member of my shift come into. Let me type it in here. Boom. Chief Moore's Green Shift Expectations.
Nice.
So the big four, I told you Mark Von Oppen is huge for me. The big four is do your job, treat people right, all out effort, all in attitude, right? That's the easy answer. And let me pull up. So this is a handout that I give them. And I'll just read through it. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Number 1, attitude is everything. Attitude is number 1. This is the greatest job on earth. It's a privilege to do this job. We get to help people on their worst days, no matter the task. Do it when it is supposed to be done and do it the right way. Be an effective, motivated member of the crew. No complaining. Figure out a solution or let it go. Negativity is a cancer. It destroys morale, it destroys teamwork, and it destroys customer service. Number 2 priority is calls. And people say, well, why isn't calls number 1? It's because your attitude affects your effectiveness on the call. That's why attitude's number 1. Move with urgency. Act as if it's your family's address. That with each call that drops, you act like you're going to your house. Badass service is what I expect. Treat every customer as you would want your grandmother treated. I talked about that a little bit already. And use mundane calls as opportunities to get better and learn, especially in your jurisdiction, as you can learn floor plans and streets and hydrant locations, and you can pre-plan as you respond to medical calls. Training. Number 3 is training. Respect the schedule. Be on time. Start, breaks, and lunches. The purpose of training is to find our limits. Again, touched on that. And it's right here. Failure is desirable / pushed for in training. It is okay to say, I don't know. That's how we learn. It all starts with fundamentals, and everyone will be engaged in training. You are not allowed to sit in the back, fold your arms, and say, no, I'm good. And then I have a separate set of things I go over with my officers. And I won't read all 10, but they're along those lines, but I hold them to another level of standard that they have to hold their people to. And then I tell them what they can expect from me, which again, a lot of this comes from Mark Von Oppen, because he was such an influence on me. But respect, first of all, respect. Everything starts and stops on respect when it comes to relationships. The whole Ricky Bobby thing, with all due respect. I said with all due respect, it's in the Geneva Convention. You can say whatever you want. If you say with all due respect, but it's funny. It's funny because you say with all due respect, and then you can say whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is this: that's true. If you're saying it with respect, if respect exists in the relationship, you can say whatever you want. Now, it's not a Ricky Bobby. With all due respect, and then. But if there is respect and a relationship, you can say whatever you want. So it all starts with respect. Consistency is the next one. You can't do. From me, if I'm not consistent as your leader, then the wheels will come off. And bottom line. So I tell them you can expect consistency from me, and that's a tough one. Believe me, the tough one to live up to. Empowerment and accountability. I believe so much in empowering your people, giving them the tools, the authority, the autonomy, the resources they need to get the job done, giving them a job and then getting the hell out of the way so they can do it, man. And when you do that, they will crush it. 99 times out of 100, they will absolutely deliver better than if you would have tried to do it yourself or micromanage it. I tell them I'm proud and happy, but never satisfied, which means I love my crews. I invest in my crews, and I'm so proud of them and what they do when they buy in and they do it. But I'm happy about it, but I'm never satisfied. We're always looking for what will stretch us, what will make us better. Forthright and candid. This is a huge core value of mine, which means I will always try to speak candidly with you when you need feedback or you request feedback. And I tell people send me books and articles and they say, hey Chief, will you look this over and tell me what you think? And I always tell them back, I'm like, hey, listen, a lot of people ask for feedback, but not a lot of people actually want it.
Yeah.
But my opinion is no good if I just tell you, hey, this is great. This is great. Hey, what you did, that was great. No, my opinion's only good if I give you my actual candid, truthful opinion. And so I value that very much. and I try to always be as candid as possible. And it's a dichotomy because you can, we all know that person says, I'm just being truthful, and they're just an asshole. But there is that dichotomy, that push and pull. Open dialogue. I firmly believe that people should be able to talk to the person in authority. And if you ever lose that, if they feel like they can't, then you lose a powerful tool as a leader in a leadership position in that early warning system of problems. I love Chief Shannon Stone and his Nuggets from the Right Seat class, one of my favorite classes. I reference it often, but he absolutely said in that class, the greatest thing I need I'm butchering his quote, so roll with me, but he said, I need my people to tell me the things I don't want to hear, but I need to know. Mm-hmm. And that's powerful, because if they ever feel like they can't tell you what you need to know, man, you're the emperor walking around naked. And everybody's saying, hey, you look good, Chief. You look good. So it's so important to have that open dialogue. Command competency. I'm almost at the end. Command competency, because again, leadership starts like the bedrock of leadership is competence. If you're not competent at the job you're expected to do, you cannot lead. And usually that includes the job above you and below you, but that's a whole class that we could get into. But I try to invest in my competency, and I go to a lot of classes, a lot of conferences. It's not, again, I always tell people, I don't work in Jobtown. I don't go to 10 fires a day, and I can't rely on that to keep my skills sharp. So I invest where I can and I've seen the best in the business, and I've taken notes upon notes upon notes upon notes and tried to cram it into my brain. As leaky as my brain is, I try. And then finally, the sense of humor. I always tell people it's okay to have fun at this job, man. If you're not having fun at this job, you are doing it wrong. And I believe that with all my heart and soul. So that's what I expected from them. And then and there's a whole presentation that it sounds like it's like a little 20-minute slideshow. And I use the slides because they keep me on track and I don't forget stuff. And they have to sit in my office and I walk them through this whole thing. And then the final thing I tell them is, listen, I believe in the chain of command. If you have a problem, take it to your officer. He will bring it to me. And if I have a problem with you, I'm going to go to your officer and talk to him. I said, I believe in the chain of command. I don't skip it. I try. That doesn't mean like the chain of command doesn't replace relationships. I'll have great relationships with one of my firefighters and have conversations. It doesn't mean I don't talk to them and have relationships with them. I believe in autonomy. It is my core value as a person. Like, I believe in autonomy. Like, you should be able to make decisions for yourself. And the only way you can do that is if I empower you with the authority, tools, resources you need at whatever level you're at to make it happen. And then empowerment. I believe in setting your potential free. And the only way to do that is, just trusting your people and building those relationships. So you asked a question that I could pull it up, and that's what they had to sit through.
That was great. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Again, my guys, my crews know, because they're like probably all rolling their eyes. They're like, oh, here we go again. So
that's awesome, because that became one of our generic questions that we've asked everybody. So we would love to hear like what everyone's first day is, where they're kind of giving those new guys the expectations. So
I have to
the fact that you're able to pull it right up is awesome.
I'll send you the presentation. I wish I'd have pulled up the presentation, but again,
sure. Yeah. But that wraps up the questions that we have for you, aside from the last two. So this part hasn't changed.
Okay.
We've got a question from our last guest, and then it'll be on you to come up with a question for our next guest.
Righteous.
So, question from our last guest. The last guest was a civilian, one of our financial advisors that came on, and he works a lot with firefighters. He has a lot of firefighters in his family, so it was pretty cool to have him come on and talk about some things that seems like we kind of skip over, No,
dude, and that's a great like blind spot especially for young firefighters. They're like, who cares about that? That's the future.
Absolutely. So the question that we have from him for you is, what is the impact after the job is done that you are looking to achieve in life?
Impact after the job is done. And I'm still like, it's a 2-part question, because my brain locks up, because I'm not done doing everything I want to achieve in life. But as far as I'm going to answer it, and you guys can tell me if you want me to change it up or a different way, I am done with the job as far as on the job. So I'll say, what was I hoping my impact was? And the easy answer, and it's almost trite, and I almost don't want to say it, is I hope I left it better than I found it. And I will say this, I left it better than I found it. I say that with confidence. And so I know that I had an impact on those people that were that I was lucky enough to be their battalion chief. And I know I had an impact on their families and their careers. And so I'm proud of that. And yeah, I don't know if I would say, I know I left the MFD better than I found it. And I burned a lot of bridges along the way. I made a lot of mistakes. I absolutely pissed some people off and made great friends. And none of it was, I wasn't trying to, there's those regrets of those, like Rob Fisher calls it, clubbing baby seals when you're passionate, now do it right. And so again, I did leave the MFD better than I found it. And yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Hope I got the answer there, and then the rest, as far as the other half of the question, which is at the end of July, hopefully, I'm going to impact the fire service, the weekly scrap and the firehouse vigilance. And I've got, like I said, projects that I'm so passionate about. And I've got a lot. I say I got a lot of time. I feel like I'm busier than I was, but the scrap solo's coming. I've got 2 books that I want to get done. I got a project I'm starting with someone else. We're not ready to announce yet, that I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
That when it hits, I think it's going to be amazing. The work of search. In fact, today I'm getting with Johnston and Massey, the guys that were behind the drills on the book of search, and we're working on the work of search follow-up manual, the actual hands-on portion, the drill portion that's going to be released. Hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully in the next couple of months. But we got to get some work done.
Cool.
So fingers are in a lot of pies, and I got to figure out how to prioritize and execute, because there's. I'm inching like 15 footballs down the field, 2 inches at a time, and none of them are really getting anywhere, So I don't. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
No, the last part is all on you. So it's kind of cool with having you be in the 50th episode. What we're going to do is we're going to roll your question into a little side thing that we're doing. We're going to be joining Fireman Kenny. He is a West Bend, which is from our state, a retired guy who's been doing a podcast. And so we're going to be going and doing his podcast with him in the next coming weeks. So we're hoping to bring your question to him and then take his question and bring it back onto here so that we can kind of spread the love there. So you'll have to come up with a question that we will ask Fireman Kenny when we go on his podcast.
So is he as a host? You're asking him as the host?
He's going to be the host. He calls it like co-host. We're all going to be on together, but he's retired division chief, does a lot of inspections, fire prevention stuff. So.
Now you got my nerd brain going. Cause see, now this isn't even firefighter thing. This is like podcasting thing. And I'm passionate about it, and now I want to go, oh man, I want to ask a nerdy podcasting question, like something that only a host has. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys get what I'm saying. I want to know what to him. Okay. And again, I'm sorry if this isn't the direction you want it to go, but this is where my brain went. Is like, to you, what makes a good podcast interview guest? Like, what qualities are you looking for when you are interviewing? And likewise, what is your job as the podcasting host to bring that out?
Oh, nice.
And so that's where my brain went, because I love talking to people who do this, because people on the outside who don't do it don't understand that there's sometimes you get someone who you ask a great question and they're like, yes. You're like, excuse me. Can you elaborate
on this a little bit? Yeah.
That's not good enough, sir. So, but no, there is a skill set, and it's fun to dig into the art of it. And so, and it's painful. It's painful to listen to, watch, or be a part of when someone doesn't, or their skill set is I don't want to say lacking. They just have a different skill set that you're like, okay. Yeah. Why did you ask me that question if you're going to answer it?
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that wraps up all the questions that we have for you. Like I'm sure you remember, our last part is what we just call the kitchen table. So if there's anything last that you didn't get to touch on that you want to throw in, any shout outs you want to do, conferences, basically anything that you want to wrap this episode up with, go ahead and throw them out there.
Oh man, dude. Yeah. Like I said, so many fingers in so many pies that I can't even, like I said, and I don't want to talk about all my projects and be like, it's commercial. That's not my point, but I'm excited about the scrap solo because it's different than the scrap. It's digging into one topic with a guest, and just Like the first thing we do is we put up the bumper rails on the bowling lane. We put up the bumper rails and say, listen, any gutter balls, anytime because the scrap, it goes in all directions. It goes chaotic. With the audience questions, especially, there's no audience for the solo. It's just, we're going to stay on this one topic and discuss it really deep. It's a deep dive in one topic. And I did the first one with Candace Ashby, and it's all on toxic leadership, toxic atmospheres in a fire department. And we actually recorded it twice because the first one, neither one of us were really happy with, because it was too much like a scrap. I just listened to her talk and teach her class. And she said, hey, we got to have more of a discussion. Anyway, like I said, I get nerdy and get into it. So I'm excited about the solo. Of course, the Vigilantes are the most, we just got back, Heart of the Lakes Fire Summit in Minnesota. We had a Vigilante get together. There was 30 Vigilantes at that place that got together after the conference. We did the creed. We do this for others, push, train, learn, master ourselves, never easy, never quit. We're shouting it in the room. People are looking, going, what the hell's going on? People brought their coins, their numbered coins, and trying to figure out, who's the lowest numbered coin, who's the highest. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Killer, brother. Absolutely. And I love the Vigilantes, and I'm trying to figure out different ways, like the FDIC meetup, the Vigilantes get together. I'm trying to figure out more ways to do things with the Vigilantes, but it's just, there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah.
And again, books, I can sit here and talk about because I'm passionate about the things that I'm passionate about. And I get, and again, passion without relationship, you start beating people over the head, telling them all the different things you're passionate about. So there is a big project coming. The Worker Search is probably the biggest one that I need to focus on and get done. So we're aiming for Thanksgiving release. And I have that meeting at 1:30 today. And we're going to try and get that ready to go. Because real quick backstory, if you know the Book of Search, it's a phenomenal thing. It was supposed to be free it is free for the fire service. You can go download it and anybody can have it for free. But the other part was you could buy a hardback copy off Amazon. And you can have your own copy, and it's collectors. It's got a beautiful cover by Paul Combs.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's awesome. I mean, mine's back
Mine's
there.
in my backpack over there.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. But the one thing about the hardcover is it's pretty nice. I mean, it's not it's not a shitty book. You don't want to take that down to the drill ground, and you don't want to get it wet. You don't want to stuff it in your gear bag. You want to take care of it. Keep it on a shelf, or in theory, especially if you have a first grab edition. Mm-hmm. And you're getting the guys to sign it, and you're going to conferences and all the stuff that you can do with it. So originally, the book was supposed to be all the articles, and then the back section, like the back 150 pages, was going to be nothing but drills. And to fit as many drills as we could, we wanted them to be 2-page drills. So you could flip just to that page, and you had the drill right there, formatted perfectly. And the problem was the cost. To cut the cost down on buying the book, we took the drills out of the printed version, because again, you don't want to take it down to the drill yard, and you don't want to smash it on the copy machine to make a copy. So our thought was, it's in the PDF. All the drills are in the PDF. So if you get the PDF is free. Again, you don't have to buy nothing. 100% free to the fire service. The drills are all in the PDF version. But our thought process was, we're going to create a book that goes with the Book of Search that has all the drills in it. No articles. It's just got one article at the beginning about drilling for, the drilling versus practice. Anyway, it's we're not done with it yet, but we're working on it. But one article on the philosophy of drilling, and then the rest of it is all the drills. Now, the cool part about this was, we're no longer constrained to the 2-page drill thing. Now, if it fits on 2 pages, great. But now we can open up and say, now we can elaborate. We don't have to cut stuff out. We've got diagrams for how to build the props. We've got diagrams for how to lay out the drill.
Awesome.
Where before we had to say, well, we can't really put a diagram in. We'll just have to describe it. So now it opened up a lot. So now it's going to be about 150 page paperback booklet. And it should be, hopefully, we'll find out when we're done. It's going to be black and white, so no color. It's going to be around $20. You can get it on Amazon, have it the next day.
Oh, yeah. You
can roll it up, stick it in your boot. If it gets beat up, who cares? It's $20. You can buy another, you can smash it on the copy machine and not be destroying something.
Yeah.
So the Work of Search, and Brian Crush is the one that named it. He said, hey, Corley, you got to call it the Work of Search. I was like, you're right, we do. So that's what it's going to be called. So the Book of Search is going to have the Work of Search, and it's going to be the drill manual.
Hell yeah.
Again, I'm rambling, so thank you for letting me ramble. But that's coming. That is coming before the end of the year. We're aiming for Thanksgiving release, because that will be 1 year after the Book of Search.
Hell yeah.
So
awesome.
And it's a project. And again, I've done very little. I want to be very clear. The vigilantes have absolutely crushed putting together the work of search. And that's, again, when people hear about the vigilantes, I don't think they understand how amazing this group of people are. It's the, you know how I say when I go to fire conferences, I see the top 5% of the fire service. It's the people that go to conferences.
Yep.
The vigilantes are the top 5% of those people.
Yeah.
And they belong, and there's a Discord where we talk and they ask each other questions. They support each other. They present classes to each other and say, what do you think? What should I change? It's crazy how good it is. And they are the ones that went through all of the submissions, you know, last week or since September for the FDIC pass. They went through and analyzed them all, and they voted. They picked who got to be the FDIC pass recipient. Anyway, I could talk about how amazing they are forever.
That's awesome.
I'll quit. All right, go.
That's awesome. No, I mean, thank you so much for coming on. Like you said, episode 50. We couldn't have thought of a better guest to bring on. And just thank you, everybody, for listening, for watching, for supporting this. It's been awesome. And yeah, I mean, that's all we got. So as always, don't be a shitbag.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Corley. Thanks for watching. Don't be a shitbag.
I love it. NDOT, you guys be very proud of your 50th, man. It's powerful. It's powerful.